Bella, welcome to Bella Uncinetto. I'm Christina, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. If you're new, welcome in. If you're returning, welcome back. No matter how long you've been here, I always appreciate your time. I am excited to join you today. I have some very interesting news and also want to share about a trip that we went on. So I'll do the news first. I have agreed to, excuse me, start teaching a crochet class on base. So that is very exciting for me. I'm trying to look for supplies because that's something that I have to purchase myself. I had a meeting last week. So today that I'm filming this is the 10th. So Friday, the 8th of September, I had a meeting for what was going to be required and everything like that. And one of the things that I have to provide, right, is the materials. So I wanted to put this out there that if anyone knows of any places that you can buy specifically crochet hooks in specific size bulk, please let me know. I would really like to do that. I don't want to have to buy sets and then take out specific hooks. I think I found a couple of things on Amazon, but that's not really long term. So if this is something that I'm going to be doing, progressively, I want to be able to have a source that I can go and buy hooks in bulk of specific sizes so that people can start out with, like a 5.5 or a 6 or a 7 or something like that, so they can see the stitches and be able to learn to crochet. And then if they want to go buy a set, they can go buy their own set, but at least they'll have a hook to practice with. So that is some news that I have that I'm excited to share with you all. We're in the beginning stages right now. I don't have paperwork completed, but I did have the initial meeting and I do want to do it. It's something that I'm excited to do because I do love to teach and I'll be able to teach crochet in person. I think that's really cool. So anyway, that was the news. Now on to the trip, the excursion. I've mentioned in a couple of videos before that over Labor Day weekend, my daughter and I went on a couple of trips. Just one moment. Okay, sorry about that. It was only a second for you, but it's a couple minutes for me. So, trip. I mentioned that over Labor Day weekend, we had gone on a trip. I know I've already said that, but I repeated it because I walked away. I needed to refresh my memory. So I've done a video already on the Martsamami boat tour that we went on. But the other thing that we did was pistachio harvesting. In Italy, C is either a che or a k sound. There's not really a lot of s sounds for C. So here in Italy, it's pistacchio, not pistachio, right? So I may go back and forth, but Americans say it pistachio, Italians say it pistacchio. Anyway, we went to a town called Bronte, and when you look at it, it looks the name of the town. It looks very much like Bronte, like Charlotte Bronte, or Emily Bronte, Anne anyway, that's the English literature nerd side of me coming out. But of course they don't pronounce it that way because their alphabet is pronounced differently. But Bronte, and in this town, they call it, it's not really an orchard or a grove. The term that she used was pistacchiette, and it's basically a group of pistachio trees. And there's a company here called Bacco, Bacco, And they own this peas, a lot of peas in one sentence. They own the land where these trees are grown. So, we went on a tour for the harvesting, and unfortunately we could not really do a lot of harvesting. There weren't a lot of trees that were ready. The harvest has actually been pushed back. There's actually a big festival that happens in this town, usually in September. It's been pushed back to mid-October because the harvest is not ready. When we were walking through, walking along the trail, the trees, our guide was telling us that they're just not ripe. They're not ready. But we did get to harvest a few, and we got to see how amazing these trees are. So they are not native to Italy or Sicily. They are actually native to Arab nations, Turkey, Persia, things like that. That's when the Persian Empire came and kind of took over Sicily for a little while, and then the Turks came and took over at some point. There were all kinds of countries that had control of Sicily, and I know I've talked about that a little bit before. But they actually brought the tree with them because they discovered that it grew well here, and it actually grows straight out of the lava rock. It is strong enough to break through that rock to grow. And you'll see some pictures coming through, but it is a very unique looking tree. It doesn't necessarily grow up like a big tree, but it's not really like full like a bush either. It's very, very interesting. And I learned that, so on the pictures, you'll see these red buds almost, right? And those are what you would harvest. However, they're not ripe until the color is gone. So the red and the green and all that has to be completely gone from that little bud for it to be ready to harvest, which you would think it would be the other way around. You would think that it would need to be as colorful as possible to let everyone know that it's time to be picked. Absolutely not. I also learned that there are 3 layers. So you have that outer layer, bleep, 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 that's all, folks. You have that outer layer, which is called the malo. I don't know the English word for it because they didn't give me the English word for it. They just called it malo. I would think of it as like the outer shell, but that's what they called it. And then you have the part that we see in stores, so that when you get the bag and they have the shell, and then it's like, kind of cracked open so that you can see the actual pistachio. You can, that part, after you take the outer exterior off, that's really soft, right? The malo is really soft. You can just kind of peel that away, and you're left with the harder shell and then the fruit inside. So you can actually break that. One of the guides actually broke it with his teeth. I'm surprised he didn't break his tooth. But anyway, and then you have the green inside. Now, green is not always the color of the pistachio, which was also something that I learned. And the company who owns the land that we were on, they only sell fresh pistachio. They don't roast them. So their harvest goes into candies and sauces and pestos, and they don't sell the actual roasted, salted things that we would get at the store. Those don't come from Italy, really, because this place is one of the only places in Italy that grows the pistachio. So that was very interesting to learn too. Most of those come from Turkey. If you get or California, if you get a roasted, salted pistachio bag of that, they're not from Italy. And I also learned that the people who harvest, they have to wear long sleeves, bandanas, caps, because the resin, when you're harvesting the nuts off the tree, it's almost like a glue, and it will stick to you, and it's very, very hard on your skin. So they have to wear it. No matter how hot it is outside or anything like that, they are covered, right? So that, I mean, they have gloves, everything, so they don't get anything on them, right? Because they can wash their clothes or throw them away, whatever they have to do, but they can't get it on their skin. It will hurt their skin. And then on the very end of the branch, there's something they call the occhio, which really just means kind of like the eye. Occhio is eye, but that's the part where they will kind of prune back. And if they mess with that part, that messes with the harvest, because they only harvest here in Bronte every 2 years. They don't do it every year. They only do it every 2 years. Because that makes the harvest richer. They get more if they wait than if they harvest every year. They are ready every year, but they'd only harvest every 2 years. Because they get a bigger yield. So that was all very, very interesting. And then we went and had some pistachio gelato there on the farm. And then we went to a restaurant that the great-grandfather of the guide, and you'll see some pictures of that too. And if you're not happy with pictures of food, fine, but this was all part of the tour. The great-grandfather of the guide opened this restaurant. And when the company was formed, and so they serve a lot of pistachio dishes. We had pistachio pesto pasta with some ham in there. It was very good. Then we had a meat course, which was Italian sausage with like a pistachio sauce. So there were pieces of the pistachio, and then, like, of course, a green sauce. And then we had meatballs with pistachio crema, which is, it wasn't the pesto, it was like more of a heavy cream. So, oh my God, it was so good. I mean, that was probably one of my favorite parts of the meal. And then, because Italians don't just eat 1 course or 2 course or 3 courses, right? It's usually a 4-course meal. There was pistachio cake, and it was warm and fresh and delicious, and oh my goodness. But it was really good. And I did purchase some pesto because it's only the pistachio, salt, and pepper. That's it. And then you add whatever you want. So I have a jar of it. And then I know where to go get it if I want more, right? But the weather was beautiful. It was not too hot. It was not too harsh. I did not find walking to be difficult, even though the land was rocky. Of course, my daughter had fun eating and harvesting, but because they did show us how they harvested with the buckets and the screens and things like that. I just wish that maybe we could have done a little bit more of that, or the kids could have, because it was a family day event, so there were a lot of families there with a lot of kids, and they didn't really get to do much, which was not fun for them, because then they were digging in the dirt and pulling on the trees, and parents were like, stop that, don't do that. But there wasn't anything for them to do. So there's that anyway. But overall, it was a very fun day. It was a delicious day. It was a fun day. I learned a lot. And then I get to share it with you, which is really amazing. And I've gotten a lot of love for sharing these things with you all. And I'm really glad that you like them, because I enjoy going on them and I enjoy learning about them. And there's only so many times I can tell my mom about it. She's like, I know you already told me. I know you already told me, Christina. So the fact that I get to come on and share it with all of you really means a lot as well. So I will let you go. I've been on here almost 20 minutes. So I hope that you're all doing well. And I'll be back again really soon. Be the change you wish to see in the world, everyone. Ciao bella!